Houston, we have a quarterback controversy.
It's football time in Houston, and we're ready to play.
I'm Paul Gallant, and this is the Gallant Says podcast. Hit it!
A radio show host in Seattle called Paul Gallant.
Paul Gallant's wondering the same things a lot of people are.
You are definitely living in the hindsight world today, Paul.
Do you feel there's been a consistent theme with the interceptions?
I think every interception really has a different story.
I was just kind of curious what Paul gets to say.
Grow up, mother. Are you kidding me?
Paul Gallant, what the hell is wrong with you?
Oi! Welcome aboard the Gallant Says podcast. Happy Veterans Day. It is Tuesday, November 11th, live on YouTube at Paul Gallant. Like this video and subscribe. Twitch at Gallant Says. I just want to follow, but I'd love a sub. X, Twitter at Gallant Says Pod. Instagram at Sports Gallant, TikTok at Gallant Says, Facebook at Paul Gallant Sports. You can join the show Monday through Friday around noon Central Time and occasionally after major Houston sporting events. Yesterday, I sat in on The Drive on Sports Radio 610, where I'm filling in from time to time. So body clock's a little out of whack. Did do a show late last night. Today's show a little bit later. But hey, we did it. Cut me some slack. It's also available after the fact, wherever you get your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Subscribe, rate, and review the Gallant Says podcast. Every little bit of support means oh so much. If you want to cut me off mid-thought, I think the best way to watch this show is on YouTube. You send me a super chat. Oh boy, you get to cut the line. I play this. And I will get to your comments right away. But you can also leave comments on Twitch, on Facebook, on X, on Instagram, on TikTok, or the old-fashioned way by leaving a voicemail at 281-836-3912. Again, 281-836-3912. You can text that number as well, or send me an email, gallantsays@gmail.com. Let's get this thing started. Texans won on Sunday. It was an incredible win. They were down 19 points in the fourth quarter. They rallied, and they took down the Jacksonville Jaguars to avenge the game that dropped the Texans to 0-3 a couple of weeks ago. In that game, Davis Mills was a lot better than I think all of us expected, especially given how much he struggled against the Denver Broncos. This Sunday, with C.J. Stroud not officially cleared by the concussion protocol, there's a chance that Davis Mills ends up under center for a second straight start. No matter who the quarterback is for the Texans on Sunday, it's a bye week for them. The Titans stink. And I've been thinking about this as we continue to walk around with a pants tent 48 hours after the Texans took down the Jags with that awesome comeback, the best fourth quarter comeback in team history. What the hell are we going to talk about this week? Do you want to mess around a little bit? Do you want to introduce a little bit of anarchy to the equation?
Introduce a little anarchy. I'm an agent of chaos.
I'm a bit of an agent of chaos, at least when I'm bored and I'm talking about sports. Wouldn't it be hilarious to fuel the flames of a quarterback controversy between Davis Mills and C.J. Stroud since the Texans have a bye week on Sunday? I mean, he did just lead a 19-point fourth quarter comeback win over a Texans division rival. And this thing could blow up. I'm not saying it should. Definitely not saying it should. but I do think it could. Wouldn't it be fun to throw a little gasoline and make a bigger explosion? Because you've got all of the right elements for this thing to blow up. We live in a world where your voice, TikTok too, matters as much as mine. And think about all the dynamics at play for a quarterback competition between these two. First off, race war! I don't see color, but I'm told that one of these guys is a white guy and the other one is a black guy. Oh. You've also got a guy with an elite Ivy League level education. Davis Mills went to Stanford versus a guy who went to a public school that is notorious for looking the other way for its athletes. Unless there's tattoos involved. Ask Jim Tressel. That's Ohio State. You got a Southerner and a West Coaster. Davis Mills is from Georgia. That's at least where he went to high school. C.J. Stroud, of course, is from California. You got a soft-spoken guy in Davis Mills against a guy who at the very least used to speak a lot. I mean, this is as polarizing as it gets between two quarterbacks. Now, we all should probably pause for a moment and realize, yeah, C.J. Stroud's clearly better than Davis Mills. But don't you want to make a lot of people mad at one another? Just throw some gasoline on the internet and see what happens next. I'm just leaving bricks by what could be a fun little time for you. If you understand the reference, shout out to you. I'm just leaving you the bricks. So here are those bricks to create a quarterback controversy between Davis Mills and C.J. Stroud because we're bored. Who gives a shit about Texans Titans on Sunday? They're not even wearing the Oilers uniforms this time around. Do I have to bet on the game to care about it? This is another bye week. It doesn't matter if it's Davis Mills or Graham Mertz under center. It doesn't matter if the Titans are even coming off of a bye and they don't have Brian Callahan as head coach anymore. They're completely fucked the rest of the way. It's a bye week for the Texans. So here are some bricks so we can have some fun leading up to Sunday's Texans-Titans game and create a quarterback controversy. Brick 1. Has C.J. Stroud ever led a 19-point comeback in the fourth quarter at the NFL level? Because Davis Mills has. It's the best fourth quarter comeback in Texans history. Paul, that's a really niche statistic. I mean, you got to give me more than that. Here's another brick. Brick 2. The Texans are 1-0 this season in games that Davis Mills starts. They are 3-5 in games that C.J. Stroud starts. It's all about wins at the end of the day, right? Now, here's brick 3, an actual advanced statistic. This year, Davis Mills, among qualified quarterbacks, has been the second fastest thrower in the league. He's number 2 to Tua Tagovailoa. 2.59 second time to throw. Huh? In an offense like this, with Nick Caley running the show and maybe trending in the right direction, don't you want to get the ball out quick? He's doing it. C.J. Stroud sometimes, he runs back and he runs back and he runs back and he gets sacked. Davis Mills has made more big plays with his feet than C.J. Stroud because Davis Mills has more rushing touchdowns than C.J. Stroud. You might think to yourself, that's a rushing touchdown, not downs. Whatever. That's still true. Davis Mills has 1. A clutch one that gave the Texans the lead. CJ Stroud has 0. Forget about the yards per carry average, which is in CJ Stroud's favor. Brick 5. CJ Stroud has been sacked at a higher rate per game than Davis Mills. CJ Stroud is getting sacked 2.125 times a game. Davis Mills is being sacked just 1.333 times a game. And sacks are a quarterback stat. Interesting to note that the sacks are down like that for the Texans. It's a very low bar to clear, but if CJ Stroud were to be sacked less than 40 times over the course of an entire year, you would gladly take that. But those are your 5 bricks to create a quarterback controversy. This isn't going to be easy to create a quarterback controversy between CJ Stroud and Davis Mills online. There's a lot of ammunition for the people who don't like Davis Mills. He dropped 2 snaps on Sunday. There was a near delay of game on the goal line. There are so many passes that he throws out of bounds that end up getting intercepted by defenders. If this was a bigger field, we're talking about a guy who's got a lot of interceptions the last couple of weeks. And he really looks down his wide receivers. My goodness, that one to Christian Kirk. I mean, that Jaguars defender knew right away he was going to be able to steal it from him. These are all things that are pretty difficult to put to the side if you want to enable a quarterback competition, which I am trying to create a false flag operation of sorts via misinformation or disinformation. I don't know which is which. So whenever people bring those things up, just do what CJ Stroud supporters did and call them out for their hypocrisy. Blame the offensive coordinator. That's been going on for the entire time CJ Stroud's been here, it seems. Although everyone loved Bobby Slowick his rookie year. Blame the offensive line. People have been doing that since Deshaun Watson. The CJ Stroud supporters have been doing that. Why don't you get to do that if you're supporting Davis Mills? Even if you're doing it ironically. Why don't you get to do that? Isn't that unfair? Call out that hypocrisy. And try not to laugh. Try to keep a straight face. This is a bye week for the Texans. I want to entertain myself. I want to create a little chaos. I want to create a little madness. What does the Joker say about madness in The Dark Knight?
Madness, as you know, is like gravity. All it takes is a little push.
I've given you the push. I've given you the bricks. I just need a little help. Because we know D'Amico Ryan's very coy at press conferences. If he gives a non-answer to a question about Davis Mills being the starter going forward, this thing could spread like wildfire. So I have a request to members of Houston Texans media. There's something that I want you to do.
Come on, I want you to do it. I want you to do it. Come on. Come on, I want you to do it. I want you to do it. Come on.
I want you to ask if Davis Mills will remain the starter going forward. That's all. Let's make that little push happen. Because we're going to be bored the rest of the week. Texans, Titans, who gives a shit? You know? Anyway, everybody, it is the Gallant Says podcast, the most interactive podcast on the internet. You can send me an email, gallantsays@gmail.com. You can give me a phone call or a text message, 281-836-3912. Let's get to your comments. Let's start off with YouTube. Dime628 says, this is dumb. Well, is it? Or do you just not know ball? Glenn Too Deep comments on Twitch, CJ is not smart enough to be the starter. Proven by Davis Mills' performance with the same offensive coordinator and crap O-line. Interesting. Interesting point. R.A. Tacky 3230 says Davis Mills has a more relatable wardrobe. Yes, we are talking about future 9-figure earners in a class struggle with an 8-figure earner. Or is it a 7-figure earner? Davis Mills is getting handsomely compensated for his services. He's the second highest paid quarterback, backup quarterback in the league. Strict Lace says, LOL, no quarterback controversy. Start with the dramatics. There's no dramatics here. We're just having fun. We're having fun. Huh, interesting. R.A. Tacky 3230 with the super chat. Great point by him. Everyone knows Davis Mills has an incredibly strong neck. So does he even get whiplash and concussed on that slide that CJ Stroud did? I doubt it. It's a great point. A great point. John McClain's Chains, that's a great handle, says, do you think CJ would have won that last game if he'd been playing instead? Who can say? That's your answer to that question. That's your answer. This could be the most fun inside joke. Strictly says the Titans stink, but their D-line is legit when this offensive line is still bottom third garbage. Strictly, did you watch the last Texans-Titans game? I get that they have Jeffrey Simmons. That is literally it. Some people believe I'm wearing suspenders, and with that mustache, you resemble Mario. Oh, that is interesting. No, I am honoring the troops by wearing a New England Patriots jersey. Just honoring the troops. Okay? Let's have some fun. Let's have some fun. Time 628 says, I can see why you're out of work. There are a lot of people that would hear this on the radio and actually believe me. I feel like I have laid out that we're joking here, but this is our inside joke. Let's manifest a quarterback competition. Let's read some TikTok comments here. Tank says CJ is the starter. Move on. Well, he might not be on Sunday. Big T Reviews comments on TikTok. Davis Mills showed more grit than CJ has since he started. I don't know what that means, but sure. Sounds like it's coded language to say he's a white. Tank says recency bias got y'all bad. Tank, just join us. Just join us. Let's enable the people that really want Davis Mills to be the starting quarterback to become more than tinfoil hatters. You know? We can create quarterback controversy gate. If I do it with an Alex Jones voice, will more people believe me? Davis Mills, when he's under center, things seem a little get less gay. I don't know. Junior Bronco says Mills is better. It's just a fact. He's got that Flacco in him. That's a good point. User 626 says, come on, you don't believe that the Mills experiment ended when we drafted CJ. Listen, it's a team game, and they drafted CJ Stroud 3 years ago. And things, almost 3 years ago, right? We're at 2.5 now. But things changed. It's the NFL, not for long. Justin Texas says, it sounds nice. I don't think Mills is the guy. He played a great game, though. Rudy Roo says it's a little early to be like this. User 628 says, I'll take CJ over Mills every day. No need for a quarterback controversy because there isn't any. Unless there is. Oh, this is great. I think we're going to have a lot of people show up and join the comment section on TikTok. TikTok is definitely where it's the rowdiest. Rudy Root says if you can do that against the Colts, you got something to talk about. You are 100% right. This is the thing. If play the Titans and they win, you could try to keep this conversation going. CJ Stroud should be the quarterback. I want everyone to know that. I do not actually want Davis Mills to be starting quarterback. I'm just saying we got a game against the Titans on Sunday. Fuck it. Let's just create a shitstorm on the internet and just sit back and laugh at the people who take things a little bit too seriously, right? That would be fun. Rick Hagewood, 1079 says, if General Mills struggles against the Titans, do we see Graham Mertz? I don't think about that. I don't think so. I don't think that'll happen. I don't think that General Mills or as we're calling him now, D Mills, is going to struggle either. I guess I should play the song one more time. I'm sorry I'm turning the Gallant Says podcast into a bit of a top 40 show where we are just playing the same song over and over and over and over again. But since Mark Vandermeer, my guy, on the Texans touchdown where they took the lead, Davis Mills, his run down to the left pylon for 6. Since this comment happened, it seems that we might be calling Davis Mills D Mills. That might be actually how he goes in the locker room. D Mills instead of General Mills. I'm okay with D Mills after that legendary performance on Sunday that we'll be talking about forever. He's still got a long way to go, though, to be the best backup quarterback in Texans history. TJ Yates got him in spades. I mean, we're talking about a playoff win with TJ Yates and multiple stints as the backup where he comes back and he still wins. He owns the fucking Bengals for some reason. But here's Mark Vandermeer on the call of Davis Mills' touchdown to take the lead.
37 seconds to go. 29-24. Texans trailing, 3rd and goal at the 14. Mills, shotgun, marks to his left, 2 receivers, wide side right. Here's the snap. Davis looking. Davis stepping to his left. Davis on the run. 10. Davis 5. Davis to the corner. Davis! Touchdown! Houston! The Texans take the lead on the Mills scramble. Amazing! D. Mills gets it done.
I love
37
right there by Mark. D. Mills gets it done. TikTok, Sasquatch86 says they call him Money Mills. Rudy Roo says D. Wheels. Money Mills makes sense because he is the second highest paid backup quarterback in the league. I think the highest paid backup quarterback in the league is Marcus Mariota, who fucking sucks. If you've listened to me long enough, you know I do not care for him as a player. The giraffe. Glenn Too Deep says a white giraffe trying to be a quarterback. What else is there to see? Sasquatch says that Vandy's going to have to drink honey tea after that broadcast. Perhaps. There's definitely a lot of hooting and hollering going on at the end. I like Vandy. But anyway, yesterday when I was filling in on 610 with Ron Hughley sitting in for Clint Sterner, Ron challenged me because I guess he knows that I do music from time to time with putting together a song about Davis Mills. I wanted to do a song that would be based off of the Greg Olson lyrics and the 7th Floor Crew, the Miami rap song. Look that up if you've never heard of it. This is how it sounded. Yes, we are sort of becoming a top 40 show and just playing my old bits and old songs over and over again.
Hello, my friends, it's me again. It's been a while since you've seen number 10. The Jags remember.
Yeah, they do.
You know my next legendary, a tree trunk thicker than the Stanford tree. I'm yelling timber. I am creating a QB controversy. CJ Stroud's worst enemy. Second highest paid backup.
That's true.
Stacking bills. Making Jags fans want to take pills. Call me D Mills. I am 3-1 against the Jags.
Second verse, Tyler.
I am 3-1 against Trevor Lawrence.
He's standing up.
Call me D Mills. And that's it. That was 14 bars, I think.
That's good.
Thank you. Thank you for putting me on the spot. I would not have had the stones to do that in the middle of a show if not for you, Ron.
That's good.
Thank you, Ron, for saying it was good, for enabling my ego. I had a lot of fun doing that yesterday. Some comments here. Rick Haywood says Deshaun Watson's the highest paid backup quarterback. That is actually true. On Instagram at Sports Gallant, Robert Dolman said that rushing touchdown was awesome for Davis Mills, and I wish I was able to return my Deshaun Watson jersey. I mean, didn't they offer an exchange for Deshaun Watson jerseys? Also, I'd imagine that you could buy a throwback, like big collar Texans jersey for Davis Mills if you want, you know? Remember when they acted like they made a huge change to the jersey because they put a logo on the back above the nameplate? What a good old time. What a good old time that was. Big news in sports today. The Dallas Mavericks blew out Nico Harrison. An article from Tim McMahon and Shams Charania at ESPN.com laid that out, that they were going to move on from him at 10 a.m. I think as far as where were you moments that relate to sports trades, Luka Doncic getting traded to the Los Angeles Lakers February 2nd, 2025. I forget if it was... I hate when this happens. I forget if it was past midnight Central Time when it happened. I just know I was at T-Bone's for karaoke. T-Bone's, if you've never been there, awesome place. Great food. It's reasonably priced. They have awesome karaoke on Saturdays. Lots of TVs. Big fan of T-Bone's. But while I was there, I got a notification on my phone from ESPN, and it was that the Mavericks have traded Luka Doncic to the Lakers. And I was like, no fucking way. And then we saw that the trade was for Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and a 2029 first-round pick. And look, Anthony Davis is a very good to great player when he's healthy, but that almost never happens. Considering that the Mavericks had just been in the finals the year before against the Celtics, with Luka Doncic the reason that they made it that far, it was pretty crazy that they thought, we're just going to move on from that guy. And I still can't fathom why the Mavericks let Nico Harrison, the now former general manager of the Mavericks, make this move, especially if they fired him less than 10 games into this year. How did they let him make this move? They were hearing those same fire Nico chants last year. They stumble into the number 1 overall pick. They get Cooper Flag. Lots of people are wondering if the NBA's rigged, either because they think that they're scratching the Mavericks back for making a move like this, or the other conspiracy theory I've seen out there, they're trying to give a Vegas future team a great player. I've seen all of those. But I just got to go back to this trade happening. How does ownership sign off on this? How? I get that they were new ownership. They were taking over from Mark Cuban. Mark Cuban said, nope, don't let this happen. I see someone, Jay Smooth, is saying the NBA made the call. Perhaps. I know there's a lot of conspiracy theories out there, but why did they let the Mavericks? Why did the Mavericks let Nico Harrison do this? Patrick Dumont wrote a letter to fans today, said this, quote, "No one associated with the Mavericks organization is happy with the start of what we all believed would be a promising season." Pfft. You have high expectations for the Mavericks, and I share them with you. When the results don't meet expectations, it's my responsibility to act. Through the majority of the 2025-2026 season, though the majority of the 2025-2026 season remains to be played, and I know our players are committed to a winning culture. This decision was critical to moving our franchise forward in a positive direction. Can you move in a positive direction after you trade this guy? Even by getting Cooper Flagg, clearly you couldn't move in a positive direction after this move. So again, why did you make the move happen, especially if you decided to move on from him today? That letter, by the way, that Patrick Dumont, who I guess is the head owner, CEO, whatever, of the Mavericks, did not reference the Luka Doncic trade. Not once. What? How? Is it because you realized, oh, maybe we shouldn't have let a guy who has ties to the Lakers general manager, Rob Pelinka, look it up, that's real. Maybe we shouldn't have let that guy who was our GM make a trade with his friend? Just maybe. And I mean, I wish that we could bet on Kalshi that Nico Harrison's going to end up being a Laker consultant in the days to come, weeks to come, months to come. That's going to happen. They're friends. Also, this trade happened. This is one of the greatest heists in NBA history. And the Lakers love rewarding their stars. They're not going to reward a Judas in another organization. Harrison was spinning after the Mavericks made it to an NBA championship thanks to the power of Luka Doncic's offensive explosions. That defense wins championships. They were in the fucking NBA Finals. Defense wins championships. I mean, did he push that to the new Mavericks ownership? Is that what he sold them? And they bought that? I mean, goodness.
Is the man retarded? Let me apologize for using that word. Oh. I have my first cousin. We just put him to. He died a few months ago.
Oh, whoa. Watch out, Chris Broussard. You gotta slow your roll when it comes to that. But how could you have any faith in what Patrick Dumont does next? And there's just so many dumb owners in sports. So many. There are certain moments where you have to step in and stop someone from trying a little bit too hard. And Nico Harrison trading Luka Doncic, no matter how out of shape he might have been, and no matter how much I might have wanted that move to work out for the Mavericks, because I just detest watching Luka Doncic play basketball on the same level that I detested watching James Harden play basketball for the Rockets. Both, disgusting, flopping, whining, complaining, no defense, out of shape, awful, hate it. I wanted this to work for the Mavericks. But how does the owner not get in the way of this happening? You're borderline absentee. But if you were sold, defense wins championships after having made it to the fucking finals the year before against a team, the Celtics, that play great defensively, but also just shoot a million threes. How? How do you just say, yeah, all right, sure, fine. Yeah. Perhaps the most relevant player in the NBA, the most popular white player in the NBA, which I do think is somewhat important in a city like Dallas. Let's move him. Wild. Is this all Nico Harrison's fault? No, partly on Patrick Dumont, as I laid out. They had some bad luck as well. Kyrie Irving tore his ACL. They kind of rushed Anthony Davis back last year after the trade happened to play February 8th against the Rockets. Played well in the first half. Adductor strain sidelined him for 6 weeks after the fact. Like, there's been some bad injury luck for the Mavericks. If they had Kyrie right now, could this work? Maybe. But it's crazy that this trade ever happened. And it's even more wild that the Mavericks signed off on this, especially if they were willing to move on from the general manager this quickly. Wild. Let's read some comments on YouTube at Paul Gallant. Joe Lee 713 asks, what are your thoughts on the Houston Rockets? I think the Rockets are looking solid. 5 seed in the West. We'll talk about them a little bit later. Haven't been paying as much attention as I'd want to at this moment in time. 6-3. They're behind the Thunder. First place, 10-1. Oh boy, here we go again. Nuggets, Lakers, and the 2 seed Spurs, who beat them on Friday. Rockets did beat the Bucks on Sunday in a game where they out-rebounded the shit out of Milwaukee. My thoughts are, considering they don't have a point guard, this is a start that you give golf claps. And the hope is that by the end of the year, that somebody is going to become an efficient, dominant ball handler that you can rely on in the postseason when things get more difficult. Will they find that guy? I don't know. I like that they brought in Durant. Big fan of Ahmed Thompson. I think Şengün has improved over the course of the offseason. Reed Shepherd, I don't know what he's going to look like at the end of the year, but you're really relying a lot on Reed Shepherd's growth because right now you can't really do anything about the point guard situation. You have to wait a couple of weeks, I think, to have the, I guess, cap flexibility. And I'm not great at explaining how this works, but the cap flexibility to actually make a move for somebody. I saw No Vanity Nick saying Harden reunion. No Vanity Nick, borderline block-worthy question to ask on this show. I fucking hate Harden's game. Cannot stand it. Cannot stand it. More comments here. Shout out to Pablo Fernandez. It would be cool if I were back more at 6'10". But hey, I'm the number 1 substitute teacher right now, I think. You know? Sasquatch86 says, go Spurs, go. Spurs are looking really good. He thinks the Luka trade made no sense. Justin comments, the NBA needed a future superstar in LA. Mavericks have a scapegoat for the trade, and the Mavericks get flag as well. Yeah, it did feel like that was a little reach around by the NBA for the Mavs. It's not dumb if the NBA makes promises to the Mavs to help pump numbers with headlines moving arguably. Yeah, I've seen the possible move to Vegas thing. Sasquatch86 says Lakers are the Cowboys of the NFL. Whatever they say will happen. Same with the Yankees. I don't know if that's the case with the Yankees anymore. It might be more with the Dodgers. And also, like, if the NFL wanted the Cowboys to win, then why aren't they winning? It's not happening. But yes, I am a sub for 610 from time to time. Love it. Absolutely love it. YouTube at Paul Gallant. Like the video and subscribe. Twitch at Gallant Says. Facebook at Paul Gallant Sports. Instagram at Sports Gallant. TikTok at Gallant Says. X at Gallant Says. At Gallant Says Pod. Let's take a look at everything that went down across the National Football League over the weekend. Give me that music, baby, for the 10-ish minute drill. Oh, yeah. How about the New England Patriots, baby? 8-2 after a 28-23 win over the Tampa Bay Bucks. The most impressive win of the year for New England, who has had a very light schedule and will continue to have a very light schedule. Travion Henderson, the rookie running back out of Ohio State, who looked amazing in the preseason, had a huge game, his first of the year. 14 carries, 147 yards, 2 touchdowns. Drake May is now the favorite to be NFL MVP. And the Patriots, not the Colts, are the favorites to be the 1 seed in the AFC. Patriots have a favorable schedule down the stretch. 2 tough games left against the Bills, against the Ravens. Colts, meanwhile, have a schedule that gets a lot tougher after their bye week, which is this week. Things are getting pretty cocky back in the part of the country where my parents made love and created me. Mike Vrabel, here he is being cocky after the game, because if you didn't know this, the Patriots right now, they are a whopping 4-0 in the brutal, tough NFC South. He's yelling NFC South champs in there. Hell yeah, brother. I mean, I'm wearing a Patriots jersey today. I'm pretty excited about it. I'm glad the Texans had that comeback against the Jaguars because I do cover the Texans for work. I think people care more about what I have to say about the Texans than what I have to say about the Patriots, but it is so awesome to see the Patriots are back atop the mountain. And look, guys, you're going to have to get used to people like this being in your life again. Sorry, man, but this is just going to happen. Get used to it. Suck it up, Buttercup.
We're back, you losers. You thought it was over. You thought you're finally better than us. You thought you were better than me. We got the best quarterback in the league. Again. We got the smartest coach in the league. Again. It's like Tommy and Bill are back, except younger. How you like them apples? Remember when Buffalo was everyone's Super Bowl pick? Again, we put that town in our rearview mirror. Again. Jets suck, Giants suck, Bills suck, New York sucks, the Dolphins suck, the Ravens suck, the Colts suck, the Chargers suck. Everyone sucks, except for us. So get used to the view, because we're going to be here a while.
Assholes, man. Arguably the most insufferable sports fans that there are. I put that town in my rearview mirror. I did, but never entirely leaves, does it? More from the 10-minute drill. Give me that music again. What else happened in the NFL this weekend? Last night, oh, gross! Eagles 10, Packers 7. The Eagles are 7-2. Offense not looking great, but their defense sure is. No points in the first half of this game. The Packers offense is struggling while the defense looks great. I saw a Diana Rossini report today about Matt LaFleur, which was very surprising given how successful the Packers have been under LaFleur. Obviously, minus the whole Super Bowl thing. But it seems there is a chance that he's on the hot seat. Wild, no? I'm looking for the actual tweet because I did see it a moment ago and it was in the rundown, but now it's gone. Let's see. What do we got? What do we got? What do we got? What do we got? Lots of people are saying he's on the hot seat, I guess. I don't know, okay? I'm just saying what I see on the internet. Continuing to go around the National Football League. Sunday Night Football, Chargers 25, Steelers 10. Steelers look like frauds. They do. This time it wasn't the defense's fault, it was the offense's fault. Maybe Aaron Rodgers is turning back into a pumpkin. He is in his 40s, yada, yada, yada. Anyone see what Mike Tomlin had to say about Aaron Rodgers after the game? Not pretty if you are an Aaron Rodgers fan. A very blunt answer to this question about how Rodgers looked Sunday night.
How would you? Next.
How would you feel? Next. Anyway, more from around the National Football League. The Indianapolis Colts needed overtime for that 31-25 win over the Falcons in formerly Nazi Germany on Sunday. Never forget. Shouldn't be playing fucking games over there. Did anyone see Daniel Jones? Daniel Jones in Sunday's game was out there looking like he was wearing lipstick. Anyone see this? This didn't look good. He should have wiped it off. It didn't. I mean, he's clearly tough staying in a game. He's bleeding from his mouth. But he didn't look tough. He should have wiped this off. You know? He didn't look like that one dude in The Last Samurai who's clearly bleeding and dying. And he just spits all the blood out all over the place. That guy fucking rules. Daniel Jones, meanwhile, looks kind of like a dork. But that is kind of consistent for Daniel Jones. Jonathan Taylor is the NFL MVP right now. 32 carries for 244 yards, 3 touchdowns, 3 catches for 42 yards. He had almost 300 total yards on Sunday. Jonathan Taylor is having an incredible season. I know everyone's loving what Daniel Jones is doing. He does deserve credit. He is the one that is the quarterback for that team. If this was Anthony Richardson, you can bet all of your money that the Colts would not be 8-2. But Taylor is awesome this season. A guy who does pretty well against the Texans historically. Jonathan Taylor's stats on the year. 10 games in. 1,139 yards, 15 touchdowns, a 6-yard per carry average. And that's just as a runner. As a catcher, I would imagine his receiving stats are up there. He's got 30 catches for 260 yards and 2 touchdowns. Insane. He's the MVP. He is the MVP. Reagan, how about them Pats? I'm so excited about it. We talked about them a little earlier. Continuing to go around the National Football League. Also, one last thing. Hitler was mentioned a bunch during the Colts-Falcons game because the game was in Germany. Never forget. The Bills smoked by the Miami Dolphins 30-13. Devon Achane, the Aggie, had 22 carries for 174 yards and 2 touchdowns. After the game, Mike McDaniel, Dolphins head coach, who a lot of people think should have been fired by now, went viral for allegedly driving by the Elbow Room, a bar where Bills fans congregate when Buffalo's in town. He was asked about this after the game. I guess he was asked about this yesterday at his Monday press conference. Here is Mike McDaniel talking about the Elbow Room and if he drove by it in Miami yesterday.
Or is that real?
Well, that's why I like the good old days, the throwbacks of yore where you could trust, the internet and the images, because it is pretty detailed. I do live in that area, but I mean, AI, right? So
that doesn't answer the question.
Right. What?
Was that you?
So are you confirming or denying?
I live in that area. AI is real. That's what I got for you.
He is pretty funny. But it only works when you win. And he's not winning enough. He just isn't. More around the National Football League. There are 3 ass kickings involving the top teams in the NFC that aren't the Philadelphia Eagles. First off, the Rams beat the 49ers 42-26. You talk about Jonathan Taylor being on fire. Matt Stafford also on fire. He had a huge game. He is probably a front runner for MVP himself, Matt Stafford. I don't know why it's so difficult to look up Matt Stafford's statistics on ESPN's website, so let's take a look at Stafford's stats. His last 3 games, 5 touchdowns against the Jaguars, 4 touchdowns against the Saints, 4 touchdowns against the 49ers. He has not thrown an interception in 6 games. The last time he threw one was against the Philadelphia Eagles on September 21st. 25 touchdown passes, 2 interceptions, now 9 games through the year. Pretty damn impressive. More ass kickings across the National Football League. The Lions crushed the Commanders 44-22. The game turned into more about Donald Trump. You had Amon-Ra St. Brown, who knew Trump was going to be in the press box, doing a Donald Trump celebration. People got mad and were looking into charities that he's a part of, and I guess canceled him or something. I don't know. Trump did an interview in the box with Kenny Albert and Jonathan Vilma, and made Tony Romo-gasms, I guess. We'd play the audio, but we were getting copyright struck every single time we play NFL clips on the show. And a Commanders fan tried to fight the Lions long snapper. What a lot of fun. Houston Concrete Artist is saying turn down the music. I turned it down a little bit, but it's a banger of a song, dude. It's an absolute banger of a song. So I don't like that. I don't like you telling me what to do. Seahawks 44, Cardinals 22. It was 31-7 at halftime. I wonder if the Cardinals decide to stick with Jacoby Brissett as starting quarterback. It looked like Kyler Murray might be back on Sunday, and then all of a sudden he was put on IR. Maybe he tried to practice. Things weren't going so well. Maybe the Cardinals have just moved on altogether from him. There's a really insufferable asshat of a Seahawks fan who talks shit to fans. Talk shit to players before every game. We talked about this happening with Baker Mayfield earlier this year. This guy needs to work on his material. I think even the Aggie yell leaders are better than this fucking loser.
Your do-rag stinks, bro. I can smell it from here. You need some Dove, bro. You need some Dove, bro. You need to put some deodorant on, bro. Yeah, hey, I bet you're his girlfriend, huh? You two are in a fucking relationship. Yeah, I knew it. I could see it from here. Hey, it's Gino over there. Hey, knock off Gino. Right there, yeah.
Got a reaction saying knock off Gino. That guy sucks. Absolutely sucks. If he was actually funny as a heckler, that would be great. The Titans actually have some funny heckling fans in their end zone. I think they're called the End Zone Boys. I forget. But we'll probably play some clips from them on Friday, given that the Texans-Titans game is essentially a bye week for the Texans, no matter who's under center. More. Are the Bears frisky? They beat the Giants 24-20. They're 6-3 now. Brian Daboll got fired after the game. I really don't get that. Jackson Dart was evaluated for his 4th concussion. Russell Wilson came in. He looked like he had no confidence anymore. And anyone see that image of Brian Daboll today? I guess he was walking through New York City in the snow. It just looked miserable. I feel for the guy. I don't think it was his fault. I don't. I think Joe Shane, the fact that the Giants are keeping him as GM going forward makes very little sense. All of this very predictable, the way that it went down. For the Giants this year, the 4-5 Ravens beat the Vikings 27-19. Everyone is making fun of Vikings quarterback J.J. McCarthy and his number 9 persona. Like even NFL team accounts are trolling it a bit. This is the Ravens' schedule going forward. They're 4-5, second place in the AFC North. Steelers lead the division right now at 5-4. Ravens started off 1-5. They've won 3 in a row. They play the rest of the way. The Browns, Jets, Bengals. Joe Burrow, by the way, back at practice. We'll see if he plays this week for Cincy. Steelers, Bengals, Patriots, Packers, Steelers. There is definitely a world where they win 6 of those games and find themselves at 10-7. We'll see what happens. More from across the National Football League. Who gives a shit? Tyler Shuck looked good in his first start. Bryce Young looked like trash. Saints 17, Panthers 7. Who gives a shit? Jets 27, Browns 20. Kevin Stefanski says he's staying with Dylan Gabriel over Shedeur Sanders, which is an actual quarterback controversy. The Texans, CJ Stroud, Davis Mills one. Is it a real quarterback controversy? But I think it would be fun if we made it happen. The other game we didn't talk about, the Broncos barely beat the Raiders in Thursday Night Football. They looked very unimpressive, and how did the Texans not beat them? They're 8-2. Incredible. That is the 10-minute drill as we take a look around the National Football League. Houston Concrete Artist says the Texans need to hire Mike McDaniel. Justin says Eagles fans are way worse than Patriots fans. I don't know. I don't know about that. Although there are a lot of Eagles fans in my family. YouTube. Some comments. Vocility says if we beat the Titans and Bills and the Colts lose to Kansas City and Kansas City after their bye, we are 1 game back in the division with a win against the Colts. Yeah, they're going to need some help. But they could theoretically find themselves back in wild card range by the end of Sunday. We'll talk about some Texans playoff possibilities a little bit later in the week. Texas Kid Rock 6184 asks, Paul, is that the tribute jersey for the Houston Patriots or the New England Texans? You could argue that. I'm also just happy the Patriots are good again. Omar F 3532 asks, should we encourage a Davis Mills 10 persona? Maybe. Do we call him 10? Do we call him D Mills? I'm going to look up what 10 persona is in relation to. 10 persona sports. We'll think about that. I'm going to write this down. 10 persona for Davis Mills. What I am saying is let's enable a quarterback controversy, even though there shouldn't be a quarterback controversy between CJ Stroud and Davis Mills, because there's nothing really going on this week. Okay? That's all. That's all. Gallant says at gmail.com is how you email the show. You can text the show on the Gallant Says voicemail hotline. The number for that, in case you didn't know already, is 281-836-3912. Again, 281-836-3912. YouTube at Paul Gallant, Twitch at Gallant Says, Instagram at Sports Gallant, X at Gallant Says, at Gallant Says Pod. More! Here are all the things that we did not get to talk about on today's show. A little segment that we call In Case You Missed It. Give me the music, baby. Hell yeah. The Rockets are 6-3. Early on, yes, but that's good for 5th in the Western Conference behind the 10-1 Thunder, the 8-2 Spurs, the Nuggets, Lakers as well. The Spurs beat them Friday in the NBA Cup, 121-110. A game I did not watch. I apologize. I was in Fredericksburg, Texas. There was a controversial moment in this game, and maybe Rockets Spurs will get a little spicy as the season goes along. This was an NBA Cup game with about 18 seconds to play, and the Rockets down 118-110. Did anyone notice Alperen Şengün doing this to Victor Wembanyama in the midst of a free throw? Watch this. Wemby is practically leaning on Şengün already. God, he's so tall. And Şengün, whoa! I mean, look at that. One more time. Boom! I mean, you can play football with that kind of leverage. People aren't happy about that. Listen, I'm not going to act like I'm mad about it, but it was a noteworthy moment from the end of that game. Is that sore losing by Alperen Şengün? I kind of want the Rockets to be sore losers, you know? Especially since losing was kind of enabled during the Jalen Green era. Speaking of, I guess Jalen Green's injured, hurt his hamstring. He's got a big tattoo of his older baby mama / I think fiance. What's the relationship? They're in a relationship. They have a 17-year age gap. They have a daughter together who was born last year. They've had public arguments, but they also have shown affection in public. Green has a tattoo of her on his back. Hey, some people do that. That's awesome. That's cool. Green was, I guess, asked if he had enough floor space while he was in Houston, and he said, next question, with like a smirk, as if like, yeah, the Rockets didn't give me enough space. They gave you plenty of space, dude, and you sort of hung yourself with that space. The Rockets beat the Bucks Sunday 122-115. They came back from down big in the fourth quarter. Kevin Durant had 31 points and was incredibly efficient. I think he was 11 of 15 from the field in that game. And the most noteworthy part of that, at least in the stat sheet, other than Durant's performance, is just how much the Rockets dominated the glass. In this game, the Rockets had 50 rebounds to the Bucks 27. They had 24 rebounds on the offensive side of things, that's almost as many as Milwaukee had. Milwaukee's 6-4, but yeah, what are they going to do this season with the things they're dealing with right now? Continuing, in case you missed it, anyone see this with Clayton Kershaw? This was from a podcast appearance. I guess Kershaw's talking about retiring on a Bleacher Report podcast. And guess who he unprompted brings up? The 2017 Houston Astros.
I've been one other 7-game World Series and we lost that one. So this one is well, there's an asterisk on that one, but we won this one, and so
there was an asterisk on that one. Huh? Interesting. I've been in one other 7-game World Series and we lost that one. Well, there's an asterisk on that one. So I reposted this. And Dodgers fans got mad at me because I posted it with this caption. If only there was an asterisk for his 13-13, 4.65 ERA postseason record. This one blew up. If you want to laugh at Dodgers fans getting pissed off at me, if you want to laugh about it, go on my X, @GallantSays. Joe Girardi, for his part, former Yankees manager, has moved on from the 2017 Astros scandal. Did the Cougs take down Central Florida on Saturday because Central Florida gave them free motivation? A post from Joseph Duarte, who covers the Cougs for the Houston Chronicle. Willie Fritz says the team was shown a video Thursday night that explained Houston's ties to NASA. We're Space City. When they call back in, they say Houston. I guess, for some reason, Central Florida decided to wear space-themed uniforms? Is Orlando near Cape Canaveral? I honestly don't know. They're trying to call themselves Space U. And apparently this actually motivated the Cougs. Here's a video after the game of a Cougars player emphasizing to Central Florida, hey, we're Space City.
Space City, our city. Fuck UCF, this our city.
Damn, fuck UCF. Holy shit, bro. Kind of cool. I'm a fan of that. So there you go, everybody. Sometimes Willie Fritz will dig deep to get motivation for our beloved Cougs. Rah, 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 rah. And he got it for that win over Central Florida. What else do we have? In case you missed it, Brian Kelly is suing LSU because LSU hasn't formally terminated him. In a legal filing against LSU's Board of Supervisors, Brian Kelly's attorneys say LSU has taken the position that it has not, quote, formally terminated Kelly. The school is now seeking to fire Kelly, quote, for cause, end quote, and potentially avoid paying a full buyout of nearly $54 million. Listen, no one likes Brian Kelly, but this is the most Louisiana thing ever because they probably don't have the $54 million, so they're trying to skis their way out of it. Listen, you fired him early. I'm very curious to know what they'll say is the for-cause reason. Maybe it's Brian Kelly being abusive behind the scenes, but I have a hard time believing they're going to be able to escape paying Brian Kelly and that massive buyout of his. 2 Guardians pitchers were charged by the Department of Justice in a sports betting and money laundering conspiracy. Luis Ortiz, Emmanuel Clase. These guys were placing lots of bets on pitch speed, ball hit by pitch bets, and on top of that, they were betting on throwing balls first pitch. Pablo Torre finds out, reports, at one point, Clase tried to throw a ball, but the batter swung, resulting in a strike. A batter texted Clase a gif of a man hanging himself with toilet paper. Clase replied with a gif of a sad puppy dog face. End quote. Speaking of baseball, no one likes Rob Manfred, the commissioner of baseball. Remember that exchange that he supposedly had with Bryce Harper where Bryce Harper said, "Get the fuck out of our locker room"? Well, one of Rob Manfred's goons told Bryce Harper this after that happened in the locker room. This is from Agent Provocateur with Adam Wild and Alan Walsh.
Got heated. Someone with Manfred, not Manfred, but somebody with him, like a deputy commissioner, said to Harper, "Don't ever say that again to the commissioner. Don't ever disrespect him again publicly like that. That's how people end up in a ditch."
Jesus. This guy Italian or something? Ties to the mob? Just restarted The Sopranos, by the way, last night for the third time. In case you missed it, what a shocker. Transgender athletes are going to be banned from female competition at the Olympics because it turns out, per a study, there is a scientific advantage to being born male when it comes to athletics. Who would have fucking thought? I mean, my God. If you're a sideline photographer in the world of sports, keep your head on a fucking swivel. You gotta keep your head on a fucking swivel. I am sure that we will have to clip these videos from the show after the fact, but first off, you got this from a Toronto Raptors game. Anyone see this? Wild moment where a frustrated player, I think is this Ingram? Throws a water bottle as hard as he can on the floor, hits one of his teammates, and then hits a photographer. Doesn't show any remorse for it. People have to clean it up. That's a dick move by that guy. Clean it up yourself. I've had temper tantrums where I've thrown things myself, but I mean, clean up after yourself. Look at all the towels that are there, too. Does he get fined? Does he get in any trouble? Does he get a technical foul? Probably should. Then, in Lions Commanders, what the fuck is this? Commanders player scores a touchdown and then throws a football as hard as he can and nearly hits his photographer in the face. By the way, the Commanders were down 22-9 at that point in time. Bizarre. In case you missed it, people are mad at Sydney Sweeney. Why? I don't really get it. But here is Sydney Sweeney doing an interview, being asked about that viral ad campaign she did where it was a dad joke about jeans, like Genes. Clearly she has great genes because look at her hoo-ha's. Like, those are large, right? Like, and not everyone is blessed with those. Pretty nice face, right? Like, good genetics. It's not about like, white master race. It's not about that. At least in my opinion, but some people interpreted it differently. She was asked about those commercials, which I thought were just like a dad joke, polarizing one. A lot of people were talking about it, by some rando reporter.
The criticism of the content, which was basically that maybe specifically in this political climate, like white people shouldn't joke about genetic superiority. Like that was kind of like the criticism, broadly speaking. And since you are talking about this, I just wanted to give you an
Look at her face. It's so smarmy.
opportunity to talk about that specifically.
I want to give you an opportunity.
I think that when I have an issue that I want to speak about, people will hear.
And people are mad about this because there are some who say she had a chance to denounce white supremacy here and she didn't. And that seems like a massive jump on the jump to conclusions, Matt. There was a lot of people who were upset about that advertisement, and it really was because they thought that Sydney Sweeney was advertising being white. And it's like, no, she's advertising being hot. Generally, if you're good looking, your parents were good looking. That's how it works. Or there was someone in your family back in the day who was really good looking. That's how it works. But it's about white supremacy. She doesn't denounce white supremacy here. What's going on? It's bizarre. People really need to get a life. Do you think she's putting a lot of thought into things? She has to now, I guess, because she's hot and the subject of conversations all the time. Not as hot as my girlfriend. Hot. I think Sharon Stone said, it's tough to be hot. All right. Sure. In some ways. In others, not so much. Like, she's getting a lot of movie roles. She's not the best actress. But it's bizarre to me that people feel the need to call Sydney Sweeney out for that specific advertising campaign like it was some sort of coded message for white supremacy. I truly do not understand it. More from In Case You Missed It. People are mad about Nikki Glazer's monologue on SNL over the weekend. I actually watched the whole thing before the show started. One of the reasons the show started late. She's an actual stand-up. I figured she'd have one I liked. Touched on subjects that I guess are a little sensitive. With great points, though, that she made along the way. Clearly joking the whole way through. And a lot of people, and I think some of these people lean right, were getting all bent out of shape about it. Listen, she's a stand-up comic. She's going to try to be as funny as she can. If it's on national TV, tough shit. She's trying to be funny out there. I thought she was pretty funny. I wasn't like dying of laughter, but she's a great stand-up comedian. Let her do the stand-up show she wants to do. Yeah, she made some off-color jokes about pedophilia, about other things. She's a comedian. It's weird. Like, people will see the jokes made by a comedian, left or right. They transcribe them and they're like, this is unbelievable. This is unacceptable. Very often, comedians are talking about premises that never actually happened to make a joke. A lot of jokes are based on that. Why did the chicken cross the road? The oldest joke of all time. There's no chicken crossing a fucking road. What are you fucking talking about? Bizarre. People get so worked up over the stupidest fucking shit. Get a life. Get a life. More as we continue to wrap things up. Gavin Newsom spoke in Houston. Why? Why did he speak in Houston? I don't know. We'll talk about this later in the week. That skin suit. Fucked his best friend's wife while running for office, 20 years ago or so? Interesting. I think his wife may or may not have had relations with Harvey Weinstein, allegedly, right? I saw that popping up too. I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, there you go, in case you missed it, everybody. Over the weekend. Some comments. Shelton7807 says, silliest clickbait title ever. Yes, watch the beginning of the show. You'll understand why. David L. Johnson comments on TikTok, just joined. What's the Texans controversy? The Texans controversy is the quarterback controversy that they could be dealing with. Go to the podcast. Watch the beginning. If you're confused as to what's happening, this show generally starts at noon. I know I do generally start this show well later than noon, but go back. Watch it. Okay? You'll understand after the fact. Be a part of our fun little joke. Do it. Trust me. This week's going to be boring. Sunday's going to be boring. It's the worst game of the week. It's Davis Mills against the fucking Titans. Let's have some fun. Let's create something that isn't actually a thing, just to entertain ourselves for the next week or so. Right? Until the Bills game. So there you go. That's going to wrap up today's edition of the Gallant Says podcast. Big thanks to everybody who tuned into today's live show. You can join me live weekdays around noon and occasionally after major Houston sporting events on YouTube at Paul Gallant. Like this video and subscribe on Twitch at Gallant Says. Give me a sub. X, Twitter at Gallant Says Pod. Follow me. Instagram at Sports Gallant. Follow me. TikTok at Gallant Says. Follow me. And on Facebook at Paul Gallant Sports. Like my page. Comment underneath this post. It's available after the fact wherever you get your podcasts. If you haven't already, subscribe, rate, and review the Gallant Says podcast on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. Until tomorrow, around noon Central Time. So long, farewell.
Farewell and adieu to you fair Spanish ladies. Farewell and adieu, you ladies of Spain.
And have yourselves a wonderful Tuesday.